We are going to begin shortly. Welcome to New Year's Success, the annual goal-getting kickoff the year webinar. I'm your host, Mike Rich, just waiting for people to come on board. I'll be back in just a second. Good time to get a pen and paper, take some notes. Hope you're all excited. We'll be back in just a few seconds. Tell your friends, call up your family, say, hey, watch this really cool webinar. It's about to start. Go to newyearsuccess.com. Alrighty. Get yourself a glass of water as well. Turn off your cell phone. Close Facebook. Let's not have any distractions because you want to have a great time focusing on your goals for the new year without disruption. Alrighty. Let's get ready. Take a few seconds for you guys with the early birds, so let's be polite and wait for a few other people to jump on board. We'll be starting off in just another minute. All right. All right, we're about ready to start. I hope everybody is all excited for the new year. You got yourself a pen and a pad of paper ready to take some notes. Maybe you thought about your goals for the new year. You're thinking about the year ahead and all the excitement that's going to await you. Well, that's just going to be really exciting. And I look forward to talking to you about your goals. So let's get ready. Let's give a quick shout out to a few people. Alphabetically, we can take it from, I guess, with Elvin, James, Julie, Sam, all right, Bobby, Lutenia, great. Looks like we have people from around the world as well. All right, everybody, let's get the show on the road. Happy New Year! The New Year is here, and we're making it happen right here at New Year's Success. Last chances. If you're going to make a last quick second tweet there, let your friends and family know you're on the New Year's Success webinar. The goal of doing these webinars and seminars, which I've done over the years for a couple decades now, is to help people get focused because there's a lot of momentum and excitement about the new year, and our goal is to make it our best yet. So get ready to take some notes and make things happen. The measure of New Year's success is here. I'm your host for the program, Mike Rich. We are going to be recording this, so you'll be able to catch this. It's a live stream right now as a webinar, but it's also on YouTube and Facebook, so a number of ways to connect, and there will be a replay, so in case somebody that you knew wanted to be on it, they missed it, they can watch it because we'll let it play for the first week of the new year, and I guess it'll be available afterwards on YouTube. All over the world we get people participating, which is really cool. I've done the New Year program in Shanghai, China, in Manila in the Philippines, and of course when you do it online you can reach it everywhere. And of course different people celebrate New Year at different times of the year, but for the most part we're all excited that we're kicking off the New Year on January 1st. You're watching this today on Monday. If it's past Monday, well, it's still opportunity. The year is still fresh, so let's make it happen. Hello to everybody and welcome. Let's bring on the new year. So are you ready? Come on, now let's hear if you're really ready because I want to know. I want to know that you're making it happen and you're excited. So let's party. Woohoo! The new year is here. So this is Mike Rich's New Year's Success, newyearsuccess.com. We're talking about getting a fresh start on the new year and putting it all into perspective with your goals and so forth. So who am I? Why am I doing this? What's my track record? Well, I've been involved in the motivation business for quite some time as a promoter and a PR person. I'm also the host of the Success Talk Show. And this picture of me with Brian Tracy. He's an author of Eat That Frog and a big advocate of goals. And as a gift for you hanging out all the way to the end, which is not going to be that long, between 40 minutes and an hour, depending on getting some of your questions answered and going through the material here, I'll provide you a link so you can watch my interview with Brian Tracy talking about the new year, and it's really quite exciting. I've been doing all kinds of promotions for a number of years. One of my earliest promotions was when Deepak Chopra met Wayne Dyer in Chicago at a Hay House event that I promoted. So I go back all the way to the 80s where I was working in alternative radio And in the 1990s, I started the original Success Club in Chicago, which was the first motivation support group for movers and achievers, those people that are looking to achieve goals. And that led me to working for Anthony Robbins. I was his national media manager for live events for about 7 years. And then in the early 2000s, did some interesting projects, helped open the Hustler restaurant nightclub in San Francisco, which was a big deal at the time. A lot of front page headlines. And then middle decade, started my family. Elsa, who's 10 this year, to the right, was born in 2007, and little Ellen came a couple years later in 2009. She's 8. So both of them were having their birthdays this summer. That picture was when we were living in Shanghai. We moved there in 2010. I worked at the World's Expo. It was an amazing experience, one of my top 10. And also in this decade, which is coming to a close in another year, right? I started the Best program where we get to vote on things, voted Best Awards, and a number of those have spun off from books to restaurants to coffee shops and so forth. A lot of fun. Anyway, this is going to be a lot of fun as well. We're going to be giving away some free gifts, some prizes, motivation, sort of like a success contest. All you have to do is just really pay attention and concentrate. What is it that you want to achieve this year so you can make it your best year ever? So it's New Year's success all around, and that's what it's all about. It's a fresh start, and if you haven't done so already, go to newyearsurvey.com. I do an annual survey, and I send out the results to the media. It's the first day of the year as I'm making this recording right now for you. And if you haven't taken the survey, just go to newyearsuccess.com where you sign up for this webinar, and then you go to newyearsurvey.com to do the survey. I appreciate it. It helps me out quite a bit. Anyway, let's get into the material. We always look at the new year as a time to make resolutions and getting a fresh start on the new year. And it goes back in history for a long time. The ancient Babylonians are said to have been the first people to make New Year resolutions, and that was some 4,000 years ago. They were also the first to hold recorded celebrations in honor of the New Year. Though for them the New Year didn't begin in January, it happened to be in mid-March when the crops were planted. And as I mentioned before, having lived in China, the Chinese New Year isn't until, in February usually. So having lived in China, the New Year isn't there. Of course, they celebrate the Western New Year now, but they're really into the Chinese New Year, where for a couple of weeks, there's not a lot of action happening other than people coming home to their families around the country. And it's a very quiet time, except for all the fireworks and the firecrackers. I was there, and our New Year celebrations are, what can you say? They don't hold a candle to ours. We kind of go all out. Of course, I was also in the Philippines, as I mentioned. I did a New Year's Success Seminar in Manila. And there is probably one of the craziest New Year's. The fireworks that went off in Manila, you couldn't see. The smoke was just amazing. You just couldn't see anything going on because everybody was exploding fireworks. The whole town was just up in blaze, you could say. Anyway, so everyone celebrates New Year. A lot of people use this as a time to make resolutions. There's a little pamphlet that was published around the last turn of the century in the 1900s. I think this was 1913, 1915. And said, this will be the day to live a simple and sincere and serene life, repelling promptly every thought of discontent, anxiety, and discouragement. So we all have New Year resolutions. Now, I'm sure you've got a few things that you've written down that you'd like to change, and that's fine. I kind of not really keen on New Year resolutions because, well, a lot of people make New Year resolutions, and it's been happening for generations. The results have been very few people keep them. So the question is, why is that? My theory is it's because resolutions are not goals, and most of them are not clearly defined, particularly on how they're going to be accomplished. So we want to go beyond resolutions. It's fine if you got some resolutions, but let's strengthen them so we can go into a new dimension of success and achievement. Are you ready for that? Because that's what this program's all about. New Year's success is about having a fresh start, a keen focus, knowing what you want to have, and accomplishing the goals. So first thing was to take some stock. It's a little bit of time to review. It's the first day of the new year as I'm presenting right now to you. It's a time of celebration, but also it's reflection and appreciation for the year that just passed. And for many of you, unless you write it down and take a few notes as a journal or reflect on your diary or appointment calendar, you might forget all the great things that happened this year as well as some of the challenges that occurred. It's been an interesting year. 2017 will definitely go down in the history books for a lot of different reasons. So what was the big deal for you? What were some of the significant moments? Take time, a few minutes right now to contemplate on it, because it's great to take stock of it. As we progress into the new year, you're going to forget about this year, the year that just passed. So why not just take a moment to reflect? Okay? All right. Yeah. And remember, be sure to, to turn off the cell phone and Facebook and keep everything calm for a moment so you don't have distractions. This is really a time to give to yourself, to consider what the new year is going to be. We're just kicking it off, so why not take advantage of the opportunity right now to really consider what your goals are. So, how did you do in 2017? You want to consider the whole perspective, your accomplishments, the setbacks, what was most important for you, your family, friends. Did everyone, who participated in your life get a slice of it? And as the year in reflection has wrapped up, are you healthier, wealthier, and wiser? In what ways? Where could you have done better? What would you say about the last year, and then where would you put that knowledge into the future, into the present, into the new year? Okay? Okay. And again, if you're just tuning in, you're watching the New Year's Success webinar, and I'm your host, Mike Rich. We're going to have a great time here. All right, so I do the New Year's survey, and the results regularly reveal that people consider their expectations for the new year, and they think it'll be a good year or a bad year, at the same time for the year that just passed. So what are your expectations? Was last year a good year or a bad year? And what do you think about the year ahead? Okay. Well, let's look at the New Year resolution statistics, and we'll first look at the UK. We tend to get a lot of Brits on the webinars, and that's great. But compared to our population, the U.S., North America, to Europe and the UK, just a little bit over a quarter of the population make a resolution. So that's where they say they've made some sort of change or some declaration that they're going to make a change. Well, 70% say they did not, but only 12% keep the resolution, which is interesting, and about 50% lose motivation pretty quickly. So in the U.S., we're kind of more about making things happen, at least percentage-wise, and about 45%, and sometimes even up to 50% of Americans usually make New Year resolutions, and 17% infrequently make them. They say, well, this might be a good year to make them, or to think about it. Some do it every other year, maybe when the mood strikes them. But 38% never, ever make New Year resolutions. But only 8% are successful in achieving their resolutions. But about almost 40%, they'll have some infrequent success, some success in that regard, and 24% never succeed, and they fail almost every time they make a resolution. I like that in the corner here. The number one New Year resolution is to be more awesome. So that's what we want to do. We want to move ahead and kind of really sort of succeed for where we were looking at last year and how we rate ourselves. How do you rate yourself? Well, the percentage of New Year resolutions that fail over the year, in the first week, we're talking about right now, the first week, 25%. They're going to make the resolution and they're going to fail right away. And we don't know exactly what the types of resolutions are. We just know 25% will. But it doesn't jump up that much in the second week. It's just 4 percentage points higher. But after 1 month, though, 36%. By the end of this month, 36% of people who made resolutions will already have failed, where they consider oh, I tried, I didn't do it, I messed up. And in 6 months, a little bit more than half. But by the year end, 92%, which leaves only 8%. And that's the difference between resolution and clear-cut goals. So we don't want to have a New Year fail, right? This is all about New Year's success, right? So we want to really make it happen on a grandiose level. And sometimes some people have very simple resolutions that they just want to live their life, have more patience, reduce stress, meet more friends or meet with their existing friends, tell more jokes, make plans, whatever it is. those are great things, right? So why not have what you want? So this is all about how to make this year and next year better than ever. Okay, so we're down on New Year resolutions, okay? We're going to go beyond New Year resolutions into New Year success. So we're going to go beyond resolutions, and we do that by setting goals, but even beyond that, I take it to another level. Just like when people talk about New Year resolutions, I want you to sort of correct them in a polite and friendly way and say, well, I'm not into resolutions. I do goals. And it's not just goal setting, it's goal getting, right? Because just like resolutions, we don't want to fail at them. Goal setting is an important part of the process, but it's just one part. We actually want to get our goals. We want to have success and accomplish them. That's the distinction. And I hope through the work that I present that down the road we won't even call it goal setting anymore. It'll be goal getting. What kind of goals did you get this year? That'll be the question. And you certainly can include your workplace, or if you're in school, your class, it could be part of a project that you're doing. The key is to include people in the goal getting process. Now it starts off with goal setting because you have to identify what it is and you get ready, get set, and then go. So you want to tie your goals into your projects, into your life, the different areas that you are, and you have to be very specific about them. So you can approach your supervisor or boss if you want to bring this process into your workplace, and I'm happy to help. You please contact me if that's something you're interested in. I've done this at a lot of companies and corporations. I do trainings, and it goes from the boardroom to, the production floor. So be sure to talk about it. And it's all part of the process to ensure that we have the best year on every level, in career, personal life, and in our endeavors and how we relate to each other, family and friends, and the community. So goal-getting theory is, of course, about having clarity. You got to know what you want and then get motivated. And it helps if you have a coach or someone that can help inspire you and you learn. And if you have a team, right, or a mastermind group, which we'll talk about a bit, and you're moving towards a vision, then actually you'll find yourself in a position where you're leading, you're setting the example, and you'll be able to mentor others and motivate them as well. So it's a very congruent, holistic process. And that's what it's about. Your goals should encompass the important aspects of your entire life, not just one particular area. You might have a particular goal that you're fond of or you're really passionate about that you want to get this year, and that's fine. But look at the goals in a holistic manner where it includes your family, your career, your health, your mindset, your values overall. And this declaration of getting your goals, that this is your year, and that goals are basically dreams with deadlines. And this particular webinar today is just about helping you move towards your goals, your new identity, and achieving your goals. So the number one question is, what are your goals? So you got to go write them down. Okay, so it's great that you're watching this and participating. I hope you're taking some notes. But let's take a moment right now. And if you're watching this as a replay or recording, you probably can pause this. So do yourself a favor. Take out that pad of paper, the notebook, your pen. If you're typing this, that's great. But identify it. What are your goals? And it doesn't have to be just for this year. Just what are your goals? Encompass every aspect of your life. Whatever comes to mind, don't judge it, don't rate it. Just let it flow as a brainstorm. Write it down. What are your goals? Seriously, if you're taking this information in, write it down. Okay, and don't let me distract you. Just keep writing down because that's what's important to do. If you're thinking, gee, I don't have a pad of paper, then you didn't come prepared for the webinar. Well, talking to your voice recorder, whatever it is to take, call up somebody and say, these are my goals, write them down. Anyway, the question is, what are your goals? All right. Well, for the sake of the people that have their goals already written out and it's conveniently on them, it's in their pocket or their purse or their wallet, they can pull them out, look at them at any particular time or on one of their screens. That's great. So you want to regularly look at your goals and review them because they're going to evolve with you. But the number one thing, though, is to write them down. You have to identify them. And plenty of research has shown that pen to paper does quite a bit because you're getting sort of a 3D process happening. You're mentally getting clarity, you're internally verbalizing them, and you're writing them down to confirm. So some of the questions to help you along in identifying the goals is simply to ask yourself, what do you want? So what do you want to be, do, or have in your life? So what do you want? What do you want to have, do, be, or you ask yourself that. And again, right now you just are identifying it, so you just write it out. And again, don't judge it, whether it's realistic or not, or if it's right for you. If that's something that you're feeling, this is what you're passionate about, something you've been wanting to have, you want to be or do or have something, just write it down, identify it. And for some of you, you've probably never written it down. You say, you know what it is? Well, here's the test. Write it down. No one's going to see this right now except you. So again, we're looking at creating SMART goals. We're turning resolutions into goals, and that's the difference. So we're going to have a target, and we're going to achieve it by creating a goal-getting plan. That's what this program is all about. So in order to have successful goal-getting, we look at the range of goals, and we sort of grade them in the sense that we want to make sure they're SMART goals. Now we're going to talk about smarter goals, but initially when people talk about SMART goals, they mean that they're specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant, what you really want to have in your life, and they're time-bound, right? Is it something you're going to achieve this year, or is it going to be a little bit further out? And that's the range of goals. So we look at goals from the long range. So when we talk about New Year's success, a long range is going to be minimal 1 to 5 years. Now for some people they're like, what? That's a long time, a whole year. Well, look at the last year that passed. It went by pretty quickly, didn't it? And if you're looking, let's say for example, to go to graduate school, that's at least 4 years, right? So you look at a range of time where some of your goals are going to take that long to accomplish in its fullest expression. There might be elements and parts of the goal, which I call the stage-by-step system, which we will break apart and chunk down so they'll be accomplished in shorter periods of time. So we have intermediate goals, and that's where you're going to review long-range goals and their deadlines and then work backwards to determine what needs to be accomplished, let's say by the halfway point. So medium-range goals might be just a few months down the road, where short-range goals might be something you can accomplish this month or next month, and even this week, which we can accomplish by doing daily tasks. And one of the first tasks would be writing down your goals. So you would review that as a daily task, and then you want to create a success routine. So those are some of the things that we'll be talking about. So how do we make smarter goals? Well, smarter goals are still specific, right? Your goal needs to be clear, easily understood. So when you say, I want to get in shape as my New Year resolution that we're now converting to a goal, it has to be specific. So in order for it to be a goal, you have to identify. So one example would be, I want to lose 10 pounds. Saying, I want to make more money this year isn't specific. But say I want to earn 500K by December. Now that's being a bit more specific. Now, and getting more specific will be, how are you going to do that? So measurable, the goal also has to be quantifiable. It's important to be able to track your progress. So without the ability to do so, you can easily lose track, plus you lose motivation because you don't know how well you're doing or if you're really making progress. And sometimes, our moods can swing. So if you have your goals identified and you're able to track your progress where it's measurable, sometimes we feel like you're not making progress. You can actually see that you are, and that can pick you up and carry you through. And that's where we want to be action-oriented. So goals have to involve action, otherwise they're just dreams and wishes that aren't really quantifiable or identifiable. So when you set your goals, you need to determine the next step so you know how you can start making accelerated progress and get to the next level faster. And of course you have to be grounded, and your goals have to be realistic. We're looking at the R. So you want to be real. Now, sometimes you have a big dream, so right now when you look at maybe making 500K by the end of the year, that could be a far out stretch, particularly if you've not made more than, let's say, 10,000 in your life. So how you would do it to make it real, it has to be broken down and measured and quantified in such a way that it can be achievable. So it's not too pie in the sky. And again, we talked about being time-bound. Goals have to have a timeline. So if you say, well, someday I want to have this or that, now that's not really defined as a SMART goal, because it may never happen if you don't have a deadline. And to make it smarter, we also want our goals to be ecological. The goals have to be relevant to the big picture, which we'll talk more about, your ideal life. And we don't want to have goals that damage one particular area or hurt the environment or create havoc in other people's lives. And of course, the goals ought to be rewarding. By achieving the goals, you're motivated to achieve the goal, but also as you make progress, you're kind to yourself and you're giving back in a lot of ways. So that's what we want to do. We want to be smarter this year than in the past, right? That's what New Year's success is all about. So the construct to creating goals in an ideal framework is to have balance. So that means we're not having one goal at the expense of another, or we're not forgetting about another particular area of our life that needs attention. So some people call it the wheel of life. I call it the balance wheel, and we consider different areas that matter for you, that are important, that we identify. And some things are pretty constant in most people's lives, right? Health and fitness, their financial health, and spiritual pursuits, a number of different areas that we look at. So we look at the ideal life goals, like in an ideal setting, if you could have all your goals, the best life imaginable, where you reached or came the closest to perfection, what would it be like in each of these particular areas? So look at the spokes of the balance wheel. And you would consider, or working with a coach, or if you're part of a mastermind or a group, you can support each other in helping each other stay focused and balanced within these areas. It's not a whole lot of work because each of us have some goals or desires in these areas. It's identifying them and then working holistically so you achieve them and stay in balance. That's what it's about. So right now we're looking at goal getting and really getting started. So let's take a quick break so for you to review your goals. If you started writing and then stopped because I started talking again, you could take a moment to reflect on what you wrote. In the meantime, I'm going to give away a t-shirt or two, a New Year's Success t-shirt, which you can wear proudly. And what I would like for you to do is to tell me some of your goals in the chat box. And if it's something confident, you don't want me to say, well, Sherry from Cincinnati is going to get a horse this year. So whatever it is that rocks your boat you want to share. And also let me know that you took the New Year survey. If you didn't, this would be a great time to do that for me real quick as a favor. Go to newyearsurvey.com. Okay, so if you have any questions per se, we can chat with you privately or talk with you online. I'm certainly available after the webinar, and I'll give you my email. Actually, it's mike@newusuccess.com. So it's all about getting started. Now, we have covered quite a bit, believe it or not, looking at holistically getting started with your goals, having a new perspective so that we go beyond New Year resolutions into New Year's success by achieving goals. And we want to keep those goals in balance and in perspective. So let's look again at that balance wheel just so we can focus on this. And I will invite you to future webinars where we talk more about the ideal self and creating an ideal life, which is really quite fascinating, and a New Year's Success program that will deal with that. And we'll accomplish quite a bit this month. So hang out a little bit longer. Let's look at this balance wheel. So we want to look at all the different elements again, as we talked about: physical, intellectual, emotional, social, career, spiritual. You might even have some more categories. No matter how you slice the pie, it's part of you. And you want to be the best you can be in the new year and for the rest of your life. So why not use January as a kickoff point? So whether or not you're clear or you're fully committed, this is a start to look at all the particular areas of your life to see how well you're doing or you might need some improvement. And how you can do that is you can just take a blank sheet of paper, and also I'll provide this for you. If you don't see this as a download link anywhere, you can contact me and I'll be sure to send this to you. So this is what a lot of coaches use. They'll sit down with their client and they'll create these little graphs. I first saw this, probably in the 70s and the 80s when Dennis Waitley used a balance wheel concept. He had worked with the NASA astronauts to get them in shape mentally and emotionally for the big voyage. Now, if you look at this, we're looking at your core values, your purpose, right? Where you're coming from and expressing yourself through these goals. And as the expression weighing out, so you look at this is your core, being at your purpose, and how strong are you in these particular areas. And so you would just shade them in and say, well, I'm doing really good in my career and business, but I could do a little bit better in family and friends. And if you're not really family centric, then look at your community and the people you hang with, your peers, and so forth. And you look in all these different dimensions and you rate yourself. You can go 1 to 10 and sort of color it in. So what does that look like? So this will just be an example. And here's how one person began the adventure looking at New Year's success. And they saw the particular need. They maybe needed to clean up their home office or whatever, that things were disorganized and disarray. Maybe it wasn't ergonomically comfortable, the setting. Maybe they needed to get a coffee pot, whatever it was. So you can look at the different areas. It's just an example. So you just color it in for yourself and just rate yourself right now. And you look at how you're improving. A lot of it could be dependent on how you're feeling, but that is a big factor. Because if you're not comfortable in a certain situation or environment, you want to look at how you can improve it and expand upon the good things. All right, so I call this the stage-by-step method, and it's a particular strategy that I've employed since I began the original Success Club in the late 80s and 90s. early 90s, where we evolved this process. So you start by listing your goals and you categorize them, right, within the balance wheel concept, and you prioritize which ones you want to work on now, which are really important to move towards. And we look at different phase levels, right, because there's going to be phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And it's not that complicated to do all that. Oh, excuse me, I don't know what happened here. You'll have to excuse that. I have to ask my daughter. I'm on her laptop what that was. Anyway, let's move on because that's what it's about. Jumping ahead, meeting your challenges head on, jumping over those obstacles. We're not having problems. We can deal with challenges and we can move ahead with the opportunity that's here. So an opportunity for you to do that is to get a coach, someone to help you reach your ideal, to look at the balance wheel dynamic. And you can join a club, a mastermind, do seminars, get a success buddy. There's a lot of ways to celebrate the wins and move forward by sharing with your friends your goals, particularly those goals that you know you'll get support from your friends that understand you and will give you a lot of good positive juju. So that's, again, looking at the process of how I do it. I look at step-by-step process, but getting to the next stage. So you obviously will reach your ideal. And self-care has a lot to do with it. We also work with affirmations and stage-by-step process again, so we reach that level of success that you envision, not anybody else's definition. It's what you want. And by keeping it in balance and in harmony, you're able to maximize your progress so it's efficient and you're effective in your approach to achieve your goals. So all these different factors are considered. And if you look at the level of achievement, what you're looking at right now is the United Nations that actually has finished phase 1, are looking now to phase 2, which is the next 15 years of global goals for sustainable development. And it's fascinating. You should go online and search this. Now, this is a very complete dimension in that regard, where they're doing everything like Goal 16, promoting peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, access justice for all, and build effective and accountable inclusive institutions on all levels. Far-reaching, deep thinking, and that's what it's about. Now, you might have a simple goal, and it might. I've had people share me their goals with having to do with, their pets. So whatever it is, if you feel comfortable, share your story, because that's part of what it's about. And you have a supportive community here again. We're not going to judge, put things down. We might have an inflection for you and suggestions, but that's what you want. And you should be open to feedback when you're joining a mastermind or a Success Club type group. For this year, if I have a goal for you, would be I would love for you to join a mastermind group. I'm going to open up one. I've sort of been considered the modern father of masterminds, because having done my version of the original Success Club, I've helped start and coached a number of mastermind launches. If you're not familiar with masterminds, you ought to look at the book Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read that book, that should be on your reading list for this year. Think and Grow Rich is sort of the Bible of the motivation, success, personal development, market, industry, and masterminds are a big deal. And CEOs often will belong to masterminds, startups, people who are entrepreneurs, particular persuasions, organizations, and institutions, and industries. Some core groups are masterminds, and they're like a team environment, and they're supportive of each other, but they also have the latest and greatest information, the cutting edge things you need to know that help you prosper. And that mindset helps make a difference. So right now, I'm just going to pitch this for just a brief minute, that this is an application process, because to have the right kind of mindset, looking to have the right kind of membership, that we all kind of think alike, so we're not divisive, and it's not a debate organization. It's each of us having our own goals while supporting each other, and that high-mindedness, sort of support group atmosphere, helps drive us. It accelerates the progress. So you just go to VIPmasterminds.com. Another survey for you, but at least it looks at the prospect of you doing this. And if it's because people ask me all the time, are you going to do another mastermind, another Success Club? This is what I'm going to be doing for 2018. It's limited because I'm looking at evolving this into what I'm going to describe as mastery circles. And my first circle is 12 people. So if you're in the first circle, you're the first 12. That's really an opportunity, because I'll be working directly within that circle to expand out. And I'm limiting it, at least in my direction where I'm going to be overseeing, to 12 circles. So 12 members per circle. I'm looking at doing the first circle, and I will limit it to 12 in total. Okay, just to give you an expression of what that is. So it's sort of like a special offer in that regard. I'm asking everyone to do the New Year survey, and if it's of interest to you, you go to VIP Masterminds. If you're looking to get coached, I will refer you to someone. I'm not sure you can afford my fees, but maybe you can. If you're a high-powered CEO, politician, celebrity, I've worked with you in the past perhaps. I'm open to it right now, but I only have a few slots available, so I would take advantage of that. But this is not a pitch for myself. It's we're looking at your goals, but I often get asked if I'll be doing this. So I'm I'm open to doing some things this year for sure. So you can go to VIPmasterminds.com to do the application process there. If you are a coach looking to get involved, you're welcome. And if you're looking to become a coach, I have some great training for you, particularly in the goal-getting aspect, goal-getting certification. We're all about success and goal-getting, and that's what, again, it's all about. Success is a choice. We want to take the T out of can't because you can do it. The sort of at a fork in the road for some people. You have a choice to make. You're going to go towards success or make this year, well, you know what it is. The key to success, right? What's it all about? Your success is my goal. I want to be supportive as I can in that regard for you. And let's just talk real quickly about the ways to achieve that ideal life, dream your ultimate goals. 3 things to keep in mind. I'm going to actually bring it up to 5, but let's look at the 3 key factors here to help keep your goals in perspective and balance is to ask that what again. What do you want? What are your key goals? What's important for you? And then you need to ask why. Well, why do you want it? Is it somebody else saying you need to get this goal and it's not truly your goal if it's somebody else saying you need to get that goal? The why has to be strong in order for you to accomplish your goals. And of course, how? How are you going to get the goal? How are you going to get there? Is an important question. Now you can take a sheet of paper and you can actually create 5 columns, but looking at this right now is 4 columns. You can look at what I want and you can write it out for each goal, or at the beginning you just kind of you could make it as a spreadsheet, but you just write down everything that you want. What is it that you want? Identify it. And if it takes you a couple of days to complete that list, that's fine. All you're doing right now is identifying what that is, and later on we'll prioritize it. And once you've identified what you want, why do you want it? And then you have to identify not only just why you want it, but why I can have it, why you deserve it, why you think it's possible. Okay, so write that down, and then you create an action plan. How's it going to happen? And then the important question is when? When are you going to do it? You couldn't do it all at once. You don't want to overwhelm yourself at the start of the year because that's a recipe for failure. And a lot of setbacks. You want to look at what's important, prioritize, look at the key steps, stage by step, in order for you to move ahead. But looking at the time frame is critical. And we'll talk about that in just a second as well. Okay? So as we talk about things in the future, in our next get together, we'll talk about the who. You got a lot of questions of, what it is that you want, why, how, and when, but who's the person that's going to achieve this goal? Because obviously it's a bit different than who you are right now. And the argument is the person in the future that you've imagined having this goal is different than who you are now, right? Because that person has the goal. They've matured, they've achieved something, they learned a skill, they've accomplished something, right? It's going to be a little bit different in the future. I mean, just think about a year ago, how much has changed in 1 year. You can imagine looking at a time frame moving towards the future, what's possible, what will get accomplished. So that's the key thing that I want to express to you. And I want to wrap this up in a couple minutes because I said I wanted to keep it to 40 minutes. I'm sorry for talking a bit quick. But I'm excited because I see the possibilities of kicking off the year in the right way, the right mindset. You have a frame of mind that's success oriented. You're clear about what you want. You're certainly going to have a much more successful year than someone who's not so clear. So knowing who you are in regards to achieving your goal is certainly the key to a lot of this that I just talk about, because I talk about creating the ideal. So if you could have everything that you ever wanted, that your wishes could come true, your dreams came true in the way that you ideally would like your life to be, what would it be like? Identifying it. Even if you think it's far out or just a fantasy, but concretely knowing what it is that you want, and then understanding that the person who's responsible and capable of managing and responsible to achieving these goals is probably a bit different. They're doing something a bit different, evolved. Perhaps it's a bit of a fix in a certain dimension of your life in the balance wheel aspect. Now, Abraham Maslow, probably you'd say the first positive psychologist before the term positive psychology, he identified the needs, right? He has a hierarchy of needs, this pyramid that you see right here. And so we're going beyond our survival needs, moving up to self-actualization and achieving our highest form or the ideal. And that's where a lot of the stuff that I talk about comes from. And let's look at this because we're talking about 2018 right now, and we're in January. So if we're looking at creating an ideal life, this is the person who's achieved these goals. I've reached my ideal. What does that look like? What's possible within this year to kick off that will make a difference, starting with this month, January, making 2018 sort of a stepping stone, the block that's going to move you forward. Because you think about it, 2019 is just next year, and I know it blows your mind to think that 2020 is just around the corner. It's in 2 years, probably less if you're looking at this webinar in the future, right? Which will be your present. 2020 is going to cap off the decade. It's only 2 years away. Some of your goals are going to go into that time. And if you don't have a framework for at least planning for your financial future or where you want to go, what you want to do, then that's going to make the difference by having this kind of focus. I see my daughters are peeking in the door. You want to say hi on the webinar real quick? Say hi. Wish everybody Happy New Year.
Hi, Happy New Year.
That's Elsa. Here, Ella.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Yeah, my little sweeties. Tomorrow's back to school, right? So I'm almost done, and we're going to come back to you, and we're going to play. We're going to celebrate, play the New Year game, okay? Okay. So I'm at 40 minutes right now, so I'm going to wrap up, okay? Okay. So thank you, sweetie. They're being good today because they've been wanting to play on the computer. Because they were on it all day yesterday, and so we agreed that being the first day of the year, we're going to kick it off right. And believe it or not, even an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old have certain goals and things they want to do. I don't push it too hard for them. It's not that heavy emphasis on this, but they know what Daddy does. And they're playing their own webinar game as they're waiting for me to get off the webinar. They're giving away the T-shirts. They've been helping with the chat, so that's really cool. For some of you that wondered, where the comments came from, back to you. That's my daughters. And we'll have some other coaches come into this as well. And again, going back to it, if you're a coach or you want to be a part of this, contact me because I've worked with a number of coaches. In fact, I'm looking at starting a coach club this year because so many coaches have benefited from my networking and connections and helping to expand their client base and reaching a larger audience, whether you've got a book in mind or a particular seminar program, or I've worked with someone right now who's got a certification who's a therapist and she's got some amazing ideas. So I'm here to support you in your goals, and that's what really drives me. I get excited by it. And you need to look at this who aspect of this ideal self as how you're being expressed in the best form. How are you expressing yourself and how that is going to come forward in the years to come? Because just looking at 5 years, it's going to be 2023. I know it's mind-blowing to some of you, and my little girls are going to be teenagers in that time. Now, for some of you that might have older children or just babies right now, time's going to go by. So we want to utilize the present in the best way of how we show up so that we're very present. We're really right on as we're present to others, sort of gifting our best selves and skills so that we're taking the best of the here and now opportunity to make things happen. So the way to do that is to imagine the future in the ideal form. And of course you want to take preventive measures. So if you think things are not going to be as well as they are now in the future, or you're looking to retire and you don't have enough in your 401k or investments, you need to structure things now, right? Because now is the only time you're going to have to do this, right? The now is forever. Nothing other waits. It's an acronym, NOW. Nothing other waits, just the present. So who are you in this future time as you're imagining things to be? And it's a constructive use of the present time to consider, what it is that you want to have and how you're going to express it through your ideal self, the way that you're being. And I talk quite a bit about ultra being, which is someone being in the flow, being in state, and maximizing this identity that's coming through. So it's really key, and we'll talk more about that stuff. Again, we look at a number of different factors. One thing to consider for the new year is to keeping track and identifying more with this ideal self is to track your thoughts, your words, and your actions. I call it your TWA. It's the flight you take every day. For some of us older people who remember TWA Airlines, Trans World Airlines, I just use that again as an acronym. I love acronyms because it helps people remember certain ideals and formulas that I come up with. And TWA is one of them. Your thoughts, words, and actions being expressed because thoughts become your words. And I've got kids. I really particular about how people talk around kids and just in general. I do not swear. If you swear on what? On the Bible, the Constitution, what it is that you express yourself by. Tracking your thoughts, your words, and the way that you act reveals your habits, your characters. I think ultimately it defines destiny. Okay, and again, it fits into the framework of your goals from the immediate to the future, and that's what it's about. One last thing I want to share with you really quickly is that we have a smart goal sheet. If you're not seeing a download link, either email me, but you can quickly draw this out. It's a goal statement, and you ask yourself, what do I need to reach this goal? What do I have to do? And then you assess yourself where you are now. There's a P2 E2 strategy I work with my clients on, which basically is you have to have a plan. Right? If you don't have a plan to reach the goal, how are you going to get there, right? You have to have a business plan if you're going to launch a new enterprise. Why wouldn't you have a plan for the year or for your life or for the remainder of this decade? Why not? Now, if the first P is to plan, the second one is you got to prepare. You have to prepare the plan. A lot of people might have a plan, but they're not prepared to really go out and get those goals. So you prepare what you need, the right resources, contacts, thinking, what it is that you're going to encounter so you're ready for that, contingency plans and so forth. And then E2, right? You have to be able to really execute that plan because you're prepared, you got all the resources you need to execute, and then you have to evaluate. How am I doing? Stephen Covey called it sharpening the saw so that you're able to come back into good form and shape, get the proper rest, nutrition, exercise, all those particular areas. That's why we want to keep goals in balance. And of course, we need to look at potential obstacles and what the solutions are in advance so we're ready and we're prepared. And if we're caught by surprise, we're caught off guard or something, at least we're in better shape than if we wouldn't have been had we not prepared. You get it? And in a future webinar, I'll talk more about this day parting strategy. Some people will tell me, I don't have enough time to do my goals, Mike Rich. I got a lot of good ideas, but no time. Well, we all have 24 hours in a day. Nobody else has got more or less. Now, some of us have filled our days a bit more. Maybe we need to watch a little less television or YouTube, hang out less at the bar. There are some things we can do to rearrange our time. And for some people who are so strict that they want to start something and 15 minutes later they forgot what they were doing or they're kind of lost, it's because they've been so strict and overly disciplined trying to do things by the hour. You can do day partying, which is very similar to how radio stations do their shows. You got your morning DJ, right? The morning show usually is from 6 in the morning to about 10, right? And then your midday program, 10 to 2, because that's my background. I know a little bit about that. I figured that if you applied that strategy to some people using more of a routine and day partying, so they're able to segment their day by morning, midday, afternoon, evening, they can get a lot more done because they can look at what's possible. So even if you have a very busy routine or you have a 9-to-5 job, you still can fit some things in. I remember working on a project, this was back in the 80s at IBM, or no, it was Verizon actually. I used my lunch hour and I read a lot of books. That was a time I actually did a lot of reading because I didn't just sort of sit outside and just eat a sandwich. I read a book and I read consistently during that hour and I got a lot done. So just one example to where you can put things in. So lunch, dinner, rather than just watching TV all the time, being mindless about stuff, you'd be a bit more mindful. And we'll talk about that as well. So just some of those ideas where you can take those day part strategies, put it into a weekly routine. It's not difficult to do. You can make it fun where kids can take advantage of this too. And if you achieved what you wanted to do in the early morning, you could make a smiley face or a star, give yourself some sort of reward, that frappuccino that you've been wanting to get. And it could be the same routine through the week every morning, or you could switch it out. So Mondays becomes sort of the Monday morning motivation meeting, which we do. And we get people on board to make sure their week is clear, they're motivated, they know who their appointments and calls are going to be. And it can work out through the whole day like that. And you can also do that just by routines, write it on your goals and take it off for the weekend. Just some different ideas to make it work, right? So I hope some of those ideas are all about. The thing that we want to look at is looking at becoming your ideal, where you're acting as if you already have the goal. It's such an important distinction to make. So let's talk about this, and then I'm going to wrap it up with you guys because I want you to consider your goals and to look at the VIP Mastermind offer, as well as a goal-getting course I'll be doing, and a new You Success program to help you reach the ideal. So one process to write your goal as a routine and take out the want to an M. And that's the big distinction for those of you that want to know the difference between goal setting and goal getting. We're looking at getting the goal. Setting the goal is going to say something that I want. You identify what you want, and setting is an important process, right? So this is what I found online. Somebody wrote this out as their goals, and I just added a little red line to make the distinction. Someone had a goal to say, I want to eat at the dinner table twice a week. Well, as long as you want to, you're not actually doing it. So once you've identified it, that's fine, then just take out the want, right? So it becomes more that I have, more than something that I want to aspire to. I'm now being, so it's the ultra being process of achievement. So you just now make the declaration as an affirmation. I eat at the dinner table twice a week if that's your goal, right? So instead of saying, I want to tell a family member I appreciate them once a week, you would just say, well, I tell a family member that I appreciate them once a week and maybe it gets twice a week or every day. I want to prepare vegetables for every family meal that I prepare or cook for. Say, well, I prepare vegetables or I eat vegetables, right? Same thing would apply to your career. If you're unemployed and you're looking for work, you want to get a job, you say, I don't want to apply for a job. So I apply for a job at least once a week, and maybe that goes to twice a week or once a day or twice a day. You keep applying until you get that job, right? So if you're already working and you want to have more responsibility, you want to get a promotion or a raise, so the process would be, I ask for more responsibility or to take on this role. So you take that want into an am process. So you write it as something you're already doing. It's something that's already accomplished, and that's the key thing. And if you look at doing something every day, your week can be maximized. And it's not something overwhelming. It becomes a routine, something when you get up with, you stretch in the morning, you read your affirmations, you look at your goals perhaps. You begin that routine as a day part. It can be structured in such a way that it's not overwhelming. It's not something that you're fighting against or resisting, because it becomes part of a natural process, so that every day you achieve your goal. And again, it comes back to the act as if principle, becoming your ideal self, believing that you already have achieved the goal. So how do we do that? How do we act the part where we achieve the goal? Well, I say you start off by setting big goals. Look at the big picture. And I do work with a lot of CEOs, and I call it the Community Enlightenment Opportunity Group, because when we work together as a mastermind or a club or a team of some sorts, we can accomplish quite a bit. And let's look at the year real quick and how this comes about, right? In order to make our goals manifest, we might look at a mind map, but also a calendar map. And the calendar map's like this. So it's a New Year's Success Project. It's January, right, this month, so we're identifying our goals. We're looking at the priorities, what tasks are involved in order to achieve those goals, the steps involved that will take us to the next stage. And for some of our goals, which are long-term, it could be years out, but some goals might be accomplished in a relatively short period of time. And we can look at, a range that could vary, because you might find yourself accomplishing your goals faster than you thought possible because you have the support or the coaching behind you. Or you might find out, gee, I got involved with this. There's actually more here than what I knew at the beginning. But if you're still motivated and serious about it, you'll take it a step, stage by step, and achieve the particular goals. And working with a coach or being part of a team, you can help spread it out and actually accomplish a lot of goals, more than what you imagined. And you go the full length, the full stretch. So by the end of the year, you've achieved those goals. You win that success trophy, right? So again, I want to wrap things up here, but just look at getting support. If you're looking for a coach, contact me. I'll connect you to a coach. If you are looking to get consulted by me or one of my associates, that's something we can talk about as well. My email is mike@newusuccess.com, but you also can contact me through the survey and letting me know what you want and what you think of the webinar. And there's all kinds of good things that hopefully are coming your way just because you applied the process and you thought about these different ideas. So if you're interested in the mastermind concept, all you need to do is go online to fill out the application form, go to vipmasterminds.com, because working together for better results is what it's all about. And we'll be kicking things off relatively soon, so we want to evaluate things, and I will give you a call back if you're interested, or one of my associates will, and we'll probably be talking within the next few days. And again, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill sort of brought the concept of masterminds together. It's sort of like a boardroom type thing. If you're sitting on a board, you got a group of people together. If you've been part of student government or a club, where we've got the core membership or HOA, home ownership organization, in this way, we're supporting each other on our goals and sort of an enterprise to have a successful mastermind. And something happens in the conscious interactions and the connections we create that sort of spur you to the next level of success. And if not a mastermind or a club, then attend a seminar, connect with a coach or someone who is an expert in that particular area or field that you're looking to endeavor. So the question is, why would you join? There's all kinds of benefits from the experience. Helen Keller's quote, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. It's just the opportunity that puts sort of the mindset together that another mastermind kind of creates. And we'll talk more about this in the mastermind concept. But we look at, where you want to go, what you want to do, and we build upon all the things. And because we have other people contributing, you have other inputs that either bounce ideas off of, you get supportive feedback, someone might have a connection or idea or resource, some suggestion that sort of flips the switch, turns the key, and makes things happen. So it helps you move forward, and that's what it's about. And I get asked all the time, about, Mike Rich, when are you doing the next mastermind? And once we start the mastermind, we close it off. Okay, we particularly when we look at this mastery circle, the 12 group is committed for the year. And you'll know that this is not one of these pie in the sky type of things where I'm saying 12, but really there's going to be 1,000. No, you're going to know the 12 in your circle. And that's the key, that you want to be congruent where if you're working with 12 and looking at the full year, we're committed to the process. And we have to limit the membership. And once we get it going, it's closed off. That's how it goes. Now, as the circles evolve and develop, you might want to move from one circle or attend a meeting in another dimension because another group that's focused on fundraising, let's say, or seed capital, that might be something you're interested in, but maybe you're right now focused on a different area, leadership or community contribution, that type of thing. So that's just what we're talking about. I'll talk more later about the New Year, New You as the next webinar. But for right now, I want to wrap things up and thank everybody for being a part of the program. You can connect to me through taking the newyearsurvey.com, or you can chat right now. You can email me at mike@newusuccess.com, mike@newusuccess.com. And I look forward to working with you and supporting you in any way possible. And I want everyone to have a really great, fantastic new year. All right. And make 2018 your best year yet. Again, I'm Mike Rich. Thank you for attending the program. I will take questions offline, so I'll keep things open for a little bit. Everyone have the opportunity to engage. If you didn't get the response back yet, then please email me, or certainly we'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. It's great to have the response and your support, and I look forward to connecting with you. So everybody have a really wonderful, great new year, and let's make it a really wonderful, wonderful, great new year, because that's what it's all about. Success is a choice, so make it a wise one, and let's make it happen. One last quote for Michael Dell. You don't need to be a genius or a visionary or even a college graduate to be successful. You just need a framework and a dream. So, of course, if you join one of our masterminds, our club, it'll help you stay motivated, and that's what it's about. So take it a day at a time, surround yourself with positivity, create a vision board, make smarter goals, reward yourself, be kind to yourself and others, believe in yourself, acknowledge your positive attributes, make that your focus, recognize your progress, that you are making some, and you're really prepared more so than any other people by being on this webinar. At least you're thinking about your goals and how to get your goals rather than just set your goals. So visualize accomplishing your goals. Visualize the ideal. So be kind to yourself and others, and don't compare. You're unique in your way, and we're supporting you in every way possible. And that's what it's all about. And again, you can email me right here, Mike@newusuccess, okay? All right, well, that's it. I'm tuning it off. Thank you so much for tuning in and helping to make my year happen, because that's what it's all about. Mike@newusuccess.com is a way to get hold of me. And look forward to connecting with you, and please do go to VIPmasterminds.com if that's something that's intriguing for you. That's the thing that's going to make it happen. And you want to say good night, girls, or goodbye, girls, because, well, it's noontime here in California is watching this in the morning when we're recording this. So set big dreams and be masterminds. All right. Okay. So just read out loud so we just tell what it is. So number two. Answer questions. Are you gonna answer questions? Oh, okay. My girls are telling me it's time. We're on the hour. Okay, we got a lot of questions. I know. Okay, I'm gonna pause. We're gonna do that right now. Just hold up the sign, sweetie, so I can read it out loud to everybody. All right. Thank you. And uh, here we go. All right. So any quick questions, real quick, that somebody has they need to answer? People can't hear you when you nod your nod. Let me see your paper. All right, we're gonna go on the chat. Chat me up right now. We'll hang out for a little bit. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming on board to making the New Year's Success Program everything it is. You've helped make it happen. We're going beyond New Year's resolutions to having great success in the new year. Thank you.